And welcome to our next episode in our reviews for the season 5 of the 100. We just got done watching episode 11, The Dark Year, which I think is probably my favorite episode from this season. It started off kind of slow. I wasn't really into it at first, and I remember thinking, like, right at the 30-minute mark, well, at least we're only halfway through. They still have a lot of time to actually make this very interesting, and I thought it was very effective the way they built that episode because a lot really happened in the second half, and it was very interesting stuff that expanded on things that I had a lot of questions about. I wanted to see a lot from the Dark Year, and I think the first half hour was really focused on, like, Raven and the whole battle in between one crew and the prisoners. But then they did do a lot more flashbacks in the second half with Abby and Kane and Octavia forcing Kane to eat the to eat the dead people, which is something I think I called a long time ago. I don't know if we included that in any of our previous episodes, but we've definitely talked about
Yeah,
it.
you've been talking about this forever. Like, I feel like since the beginning of this season, or whenever they first mentioned the Dark Year, you've been like, "Oh, I bet it's cannibalism." Like, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you see talked about in a lot of shows. It's something that's become more and more common in TV over the past few years. I think it really started off like right around the time that The Walking Dead had the Terminites, where they were just picking off people to get some food, just to get by in the zombie apocalypse. But there's other shows that have definitely touched on this theme. In their situation where there's not a lot of options, you're going to see some people turning to that kind of craziness. And what I found really interesting about it all was Abby's role in it, because I've I've said this before. I haven't liked Abby in previous seasons, but I think this is her best season easily. Like, she's had so many interesting things to say, so many interesting things to do, and the fact that she was the one who brought the idea to Octavia just makes me like appreciate her character so much more. I wouldn't say I like her more, but I think she's much more interesting. Uh-oh. You just dropped out of the call. And we're back from some technical difficulties. For some reason, our connection failed there, but we're back now, and I think we were talking a little bit about Abby and how I like what they've done with her this season. I think it's a lot better than what she had in previous seasons, but I don't think you got to respond there. How do you feel about Abby?
I think she's definitely more. I would don't necessarily say interesting because I'm not like that attached to her as a character, but she's definitely going through a lot more issues this season, and particularly this episode, with her addiction and detoxing and suggestion of cannibalism, etc., etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
think much better lines in general. The whole thing about, like, is she going to be the one who chooses who lives or dies was like a really cool line. When she was talking to Maddie about her potentially dying from an overdose, I thought that was really, really well done.
yeah.
Um, but there wasn't that much on her, to be honest. Like, in the first half, was really focused on like Shaw and Raven, and I think we have to talk about the fact that they kissed at the end of the episode. I really like the way they built up that relationship because there were clues that they've had feelings for each other, but we haven't seen that yet, have we?
I mean, you could tell. It's just like how you've been calling cannibalism this whole time. Like I've been calling hashtag shaven this whole time. So, or whatever we're calling their little thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
I'm
like
excited.
hinted at it with glances. You're
I like
sorry.
them a lot more than any of Raven's other like things. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Who else has she been with? Who was the most recent one?
There was that engineer a long time ago. There was Spacewalker, and I don't think there was, well, Bellamy. I think they had a night
Oh,
of fun, but apart from that,
no,
there
there was that.
she
Well,
hasn't
there was that guy
had
in the
much.
beginning.
Yeah, Spacewalker. I think that's who you're talking about, Finn. That was the guy in the
Oh
first
yeah.
season. I call him Spacewalker because I like that nickname. Um, Murphy had some great uh, lines in this episode about, like, not having a gun. Nobody trusts him with a gun, and then all of a sudden he gets like the big crazy minor super Gatling gun. That was pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
Ver-
I like Murphy as a character because he just pops in and says a bunch of goofy, funny stuff and then just like leaves again, you know?
Yeah, it almost doesn't feel like he's in the right universe. Like it's everything's so serious, and then he just is like having a little bit of fun with the craziness. But
Yeah.
it's welcome. It's just exactly what the show needs to keep it lighthearted enough. But you care about the characters when something bad happens. There wasn't that
Mhm.
much with Amori though in this episode. I think she had one scene where she said something to Echo. I thought she would have more with Murphy after Murphy had that like exchange with her, but she kind of took a bit of a backseat in this episode.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll have something more with her next because of the whole fighting thing that's supposed to happen for the war.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
true.
but yeah, she's really not been you know, that much of a presence.
I can't tell you how excited I am for next episode. They really built that up well. I can't wait to see who lives, who dies, and how they come to peace because it looks like a lot of people are probably going to die on both sides because of, the way Kane has done this. I'm not exactly sure why he did the things the way he did because it looks like a lot of people that trust him on the prisoner side aren't going to be very happy with this decision. Like, they didn't seem to tell anybody else that was defecting about their plan to go tell McCrory, well, this isn't going to go the way you planned, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Had no idea they were going to do that. It was very much a very exciting cliffhanger, you know. Um, but they did kind of hint at it at the beginning, like when he said the whole like devil versus monster thing. And then they like brought that back at the end when he
Yeah,
says like I won't let the devil into my garden.
that was a.
Also very biblical, but whatever.
It's true, very biblical. It was a great line. It really worked well from all the other episodes have been building up to this, and it just really it showed how much he disliked Octavia, how evil she's become because McCree's a pretty nasty dude, but
But he didn't force Kane to eat a person yet
yeah,
anyway.
he's probably not as evil as Octavia has been. Um, I like that line that Maddie had about it being kind of similar to when um, Clark killed those people in Mount Weather, that she's carrying the burden so other people don't have to. It does feel like she did do something very similar to Clark, but maybe she crossed a line. Maybe cannibalism was it. Maybe there was more to it than that. I'm not too sure, but there seems to be a lot that they're saying without saying it directly, and I like that. I like that they're having us think about some of the lines that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other one in there in that episode that reminded me of that, whereas like that's a good that's a good point. I like that they're getting us to think about these things. I can't see it in our notes right now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I don't remember exactly.
it may come to me in a little bit. I do think that that line about Elijah's 3 and how Raven wasn't able to hack that file will come back to influence the next season pretty soon. I don't think that's something that um, they're going to delay. I've seen a couple hints throughout the season that they're thinking about going back to space, and I can't wait for that to come. I have a feeling that's going to happen in the last like half hour, 10 minutes of the season finale.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's my current prediction. But they might throw us a curveball here because like they did a really good job of hiding the clues in the last season about this season. It was very subtly placed in there. I think when Raven was floating around, so people were like, "Whoa, Raven's flying," and they didn't hear what Jackson was saying in the background. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's been something like that we missed. There's a good line between Bellamy and Octavia where he said he was like fighting for his family, and he made it pretty clear that's not her. I like that because it feels like he might actually save her. He might make it so they don't have to kill Octavia because it does seem like everybody feels like that's what they need to do at this point. But he might be the only one that can get through to her at this point.
Mhm.
We did
Yeah. I mean,
think,
what was that?
I was gonna say, we did think that they were gonna get along this season, and I thought it was gonna happen a lot earlier. But I'm not convinced they're gonna kill Bellamy or Octavia. I think they're gonna find a way to have them get along, or at least survive separately.
Yeah.
Would be interesting though if they killed off one of them and then the other one had to live with that. I think if they were going to kill off one of them, they'd probably kill off Bellamy because Bellamy is from the book, and I'm assuming so was Octavia. But Bellamy was a much bigger character in the book, and I think that Octavia is a bit of a fan favorite in the TV show, so it makes a lot of sense to keep her around and kind of kill off her brother to make her a different character, maybe one that's a little bit more compassionate and less ruthless.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm curious who the next character they kill off is going to be. Like the next main character, because you had said earlier, like when we were watching, that you think Indra's going to get killed off.
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Which would be so sad, but I think that's probably going to happen too, unfortunately.
I just hope they don't kill Miller. I'd be so sad if they got rid of Miller. He's been through so much.
I mean, yeah, he's been through a lot, but they've also like kind of pushed him out as a character in a lot of ways, you know? Like he's had this very harsh arc in this season.
Yeah.
You know?
He's Octavia's, I think, most loyal person from Sky Crew, or as Echo would call them, Space Crew. That was pretty cool how she's no longer like as superstitious, or she doesn't use the terminology that the other grounders use for talking about Sky Crew, or the Arcadians as they were originally known. She called them, like, I think, Space Crew, when she's like, all right, Space Crew, we gotta go take care of some business. And yeah, I think that's them indicating that she's made a lot of growth and that they have things they want to do with her in the future. Maybe she's going to be one of the ones that dies, but I actually think Echo's going to survive the next episode. I don't think she's going to be one of the ones that goes.
Yeah, I don't really think so either, because she is really like one of the strongest connections to. Well, she's the only connection to the Ice Nation. I don't think they would just, get rid of that so easily.
I think somebody in that like family group is going to die. I think it's probably Bellamy, but it could be Harper, because Harper always takes like a secondary role, and TV shows tend to try and kill off those characters first. This one is a bit of an exception to that rule. They actually are more willing to kill off main characters than others, but they may try to kill off Harper. I think that'd be very sad, because Monty, all he wants to do is live peacefully and help people, and he deserves to have somebody like Harper. She had a good line, I think, in the last episode or one of the other ones about, how Monty wants to help people, and that's, what everybody should be doing, or that's why she loves him, because he cares. And I really liked that. I thought that they haven't written a lot of good material for her. She's just kind of been like a side character ever since season 1. Because she was in season 1. I think a lot of people forget she flirted with Jasper. And Jasper's like, no thanks, I like Octavia. It's good that they kept her around. I'm glad that they didn't kill her off immediately. Because she was a bit of a red shirt. She was one of those characters that they could have killed off at any point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens in the next episode, for sure.
There was something that I think is indicating that the grounders are going to be a problem for Octavia in the future, and potentially even the prisoners, because it seems like Maddie does not like the prisoners. She thinks they're on the wrong side of the war, and those grounders are going to follow her. If she says we're not living with these prisoners because of what they did to Octavia or whatever, then they'll follow her to the death. Because there seems to be some that are very loyal to the Flame and that way of life. That one lady who said something to Miller about how he's Sky Crew and not like as loyal to Octavia because of that, and was in some of the other episodes more recently. I think she's gonna lead like a bit of a rebellion against Octavia, or cause some problems. That's probably, I think, happening in the next episode or two. Probably next episode. Who knows? Maybe that will actually save them. Maybe it'll keep them from walking into Diosa's trap.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was really surprised that they did that, at the end there.
I'm trying to see if there's anything we haven't talked about here. Well, I guess Bellamy said something to Octavia like halfway through the episode that I thought was pretty interesting. How he talked back to her and is like, you basically have killed everyone. I think if anybody else had talked to her that way, they'd be pretty much instantly dead. But he still has a little bit of, I think, influence with Octavia. He can help out. He can help her out. So that's good to see. I think I covered that a little bit previously. So yeah, I think it's probably a decent point to wrap up this episode, unless you have anything that you want to cover.
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe to the channel. We've got links to the social media profiles in the description below. See you around for the next one.